I have to say, I think I have greater respect for Elon Musk. I never really thought much about anything about Elon, to be honest with you. And I never thought that he was much of an exemplary person because I didn't know much about him. But he has eradicated child trafficking and the objectifying of children and trafficking from Twitter, which was, from what I understand, a cesspool, as is all the social media. And that's really worrying. I wasn't even aware of it until I started listening to what's been happening at Twitter. And by Elon's own words, how gravely problematic the situation was.
Yes, I think he discovered when he acquired the Twitter company the extent of the problem. He was contacted by people who were victims, and what they say is that they raised the issue to the Twitter management, and they were themselves cancelled.
That's deplorable. That's absolutely deplorable. And I think people need to wake up and really start seeing the truth.
And what also Elon Musk was sharing in a conversation we just listened to, which is a kind of conference call with some victims of child trafficking.
Yes.
He said that there was a whole team, dedicated supposedly in the previous Twitter to tackle this problem, but they were not doing anything. So he fired them all and replenished the workforce dedicated to this, and they are very effective. But what is it? He was saying that it's very strange and hurtful, because he says, I still have feelings, that the media would report that anything he was doing was contrary to this goal, meaning that he fired the team responsible for cleaning up and not reporting the truth, which is he fired people who were not effective, replacing them with people who are. But with results.
Do you understand how worrying it is that the previous management did nothing about this? It's disgusting. And the fact that there was a team dedicated for something like this and they did nothing, I mean, forget about firing them. I really think criminal investigations need to be had. How is it that anybody can be complacent on a job like that? So don't get me started about the previous management of Twitter, because that's just the beginning of their unspeakable crimes. But moving on to this current owner of Twitter and the new management that he's put into place, so far so good. And do you think there will be an example set here for the other social media? I mean, I know they're not blind to this, and I don't know why they're allowing this to pass through, but they are. And it's not even hidden. I mean, the Balenciaga ad, objectifying children and subjecting them to that level of sexualization, was blatantly approved throughout Instagram and other social media. How is it that Instagram didn't cancel Balenciaga? Why?
Yeah, I don't know. But what is clear is that Elon Musk is trying to set an example of what he called truthfulness and real action in order to attract people to Twitter, and in the hope not to be the only media out there, but that losing their audience would push others, social media or mainstream media, to look at themselves and maybe correct what is not working so that they would not bleed their audience the way they're starting to.
Yeah.
But all this talk about child trafficking, etc., is a little bit unsettling to me. Because I think that there is a component in psychological operations in general that you would put subjects out there, condemning this subject, saying these subjects they're horrible, but still it is sometimes, if we are not careful, a way to a kind of slow anesthesia to our reactions. And for example, it is striking if you cut off TV and looking at, action movies. When you go back after a few months, you are really shocked by the image you see of someone shooting someone, etc. But if you are immersed in this...
Yeah, you get desensitized.
Totally, you accept it as something normal.
Yeah.
We can even go as far as I threw out my TV like 30 years ago when I understood that one day I was watching a show and there were people talking and they used very, very bad language. And I thought, but why are these people in my home?
Yeah.
I don't want people to talk like this in my home.
So true. So
And-
shut off the TV and kick it out.
Yes, but when you share this concern with people who are immersed in this, they don't see the problem.
Yeah.
And you see it in talk shows. You see a gradual language that is becoming more and more gross,
Yes.
and the subject matters become more and more sexualized and everything under the belt.
Very low class.
And when you raise this, people are astonished because they don't see the problem anymore.
Yeah, they're desensitized, and that's what's horrific about the whole child trafficking and this entire sexualization, inappropriate behavior around children. The more that it was being put out on social media, and thank God Elon Musk did catch it on Twitter better now than later. But the more they put it out, the more people are desensitized to it, and the more they. It's sad because, God forbid that people start considering this a norm. For them to see what we saw in the Balenciaga ads is absolutely unacceptable. And it's incredibly despicable that to this day, the major celebrities that wear Balenciaga not only have not shown any outrage, but celebrities like Nicole Kidman have actually posted ads and photos of themselves in Balenciaga unapologetically. It's almost like they're complicit in these crimes and they know it, but they would rather side with the dark side because that's where their careers will flourish. It's mind-boggling to me that anything could be more valuable than your principles when it comes to children, especially when you're already a mother like she is. Or the numerous other celebrities that have just remained mum on the situation. And so I guess, they would look at Elon Musk and not want to talk about it because the mainstream media is silent. They're not saying anything about what Elon has done to clean up Twitter.
Even attacking him for the exact opposite, saying that he is harming the cause.
Exactly. So they're spinning the whole thing and they're trying to point a finger at him instead of commending him for what he actually did, which was clean up and scrub the filth from that platform. And maybe it's because they want to keep deflecting this attention so that they don't have to take accountability for their platforms, because the media has some disgusting standards, right? Not just the social media, but a lot of the media in general. So why would they want to become aware of such a thing, at least publicly?
Yeah, I discovered all this side of social media recently, and with this, I was not aware at all this was going on.
Yeah,
and
neither was I.
I'm so surprised because we live in a time where on social media, you cannot even you couldn't even emit a doubt on the effectiveness and safety of certain pharmaceutical products, and you were caught each time. Mm-hmm. So how is it possible that you would share pornographic images of children and not be caught immediately? I mean, the censorship means are so developed and so sophisticated that it is impossible for this to exist without a will to let it happen.
Exactly. So everybody's complicit in the crime.
No, yes. And now I'm a little bit ill at ease because I don't like the appeal to, the poor children. Mm-hmm. It's like war. Well, civilians are massacred, and it's also the children and the woman.
Yeah.
And I'm always thinking about the 40-year-old man. It's okay to put bombs on his head? If child trafficking or pornography is shared widely, what about woman trafficking,
Right.
And drug.
Just human trafficking in general.
In general. And all forms of crime.
Yeah. So what more is happening on these platforms that we need to scrub out?
Exactly. So this is where I'm a little bit... I'm not against, of course, making that stop. But this insistence, at the same moment you have the Balenciaga thing, you have this cleanup it puts pedophilia at the forefront of the human attention.
Right.
And it's like making people think about these things and maybe making it a little bit less a scandal.
I think you're right. It's dirtier than what we know. And it's absolutely despicable, the whole idea that anybody could try to legitimize such things with such campaigns. Children should be protected at all cost. But you're right. It should make you wonder what greater crimes of humanity are happening beyond this. Because if it's so despicable as what we know. What more is there that we don't know? What's happening to women, like you said? What's happening to other men? What's happening to human beings on these platforms? We need to build our awareness, and we need to band together. Everybody needs to band together and really demand more out of the time that they put onto these platforms.
Yes, it's a kind of can of worms that have been opened with this woke movement, where you basically define what is true by what you feel. And there are people who feel that it's perfectly okay for children to be sexualized.
Well, that's the sickness that they're trying to spread.
Yes.
And that's a sickness that needs to be quashed.
Yes. So now this line about a truth that is a biologic truth or an evident truth is being questioned. There's no more difference officially between a man and a woman, except what you feel you are or you want to be. And
it's getting ridiculous. It's getting more than that.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to choose multiple genders.
Yes, and once you cross this line where the feelings of an individual is overwhelming and takes any precedence, like these people who are in prison today, like someone was coming out of jail and was saying that in jail he was with someone who was like 60 years old, tattooed everywhere, missing teeth, big beard, and suddenly this man said, "I am a woman."
My God.
Then he was transferred into the woman quarters.
Without question. That's
because his feeling, his identity has to be respected.
Yeah. Even though you have all your male parts intact or not, doesn't matter, but you are a male, and yet they will honor you as a female in the female prison.
Yeah, and putting in danger all the women on the other side, right? Because you are then locked up in a cell with a woman.
Yeah, we're hearing a lot more stories like this.
It seems crazy. I can't even believe it. Right?
Mind-boggling, yeah.
But the fact is, once you accept something like this, who are you to deny someone who says, well, children, I feel like children are good to have sexual relations with, you know? Now, why do you put the line there?
Yeah.
And not before? Because once you have accepted that
the sickness,
the feeling is the truth.
Yeah. Okay.
Then we have a big problem.
Right. So now I think we need to all sort of take a step back and realize what's being done upon us. First, they wanted to legitimize certain things that were not normal, and now they're trying to legitimize things that are just pure evil. The entire thing is evil because any form of abuse, whether it's on the self through mutilation and whatever it is that they're trying to do with hormone manipulation and cutting off body parts and whatever, all the way to abusing others, especially minors, we need to step back and see how it's a domino effect. One thing is leading to another. And if we don't all halt and scream at the top of our lungs, it's just never going to come to a stop. So this woman that was talking to Elon Musk was saying that there are some agencies that you can report to and whatnot. And she said she doesn't fully trust some of them, unfortunately, because some of the perversion has infiltrated even the places that are supposed to protect us. But I believe now, at least on Twitter, if we search well and hard, there might be places where such things can be reported legitimately. And I think that might be a good starting place.
Elon Musk introduced a simple way. You report a tweet and now there is a category, child endangerment.
Good.
So it didn't exist in the past.
Right.
But it's now implemented. I just checked it.
That's unbelievable. Wow, that's an example for everybody to hold.
Yeah, so this Elon Musk character is... I was not really interested until recently, but since all these shenanigans with Twitter acquisition and, he has, on certain sides, things that I don't like.
Like? Give us an example.
Like, this is another discussion, right? But all this dream of going to Mars, when he perfectly knows that technically no biological organism can cross the Van Allen belt because of heavy radiations we have no solutions against.
And he knows that. But for some reason... Yeah, for some reason,
it can be forgiven. It's a way to mobilize resources.
No, but it feels like a charade. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make any sense that he wouldn't know. So, of course, he knows. So, what is he actually doing there?
Yes, but on the other hand, he has a very strong marker that differentiate him, in my opinion, from the crowd that is now leading this world, which is a Malthusian crowd. And if you want to identify the main marker of these people believe that there are too many humans on the planet.
Is that what Malthusian means?
Malthusian is a philosophy of Malthus in the 18th century, who just remarked that the population was growing faster than the resources, the availability of resources. So he said at one point there will be not enough resources for the humans. Except it's like talking to someone in the prehistoric age and saying that the earth cannot contain more than 2 million people because there's not enough wood to accommodate the energy needs for more than 2 million people. But since then we have discovered petroleum. So and we have other forms of energy now. So it's an idea that is really poisonous.
Yeah.
And you hear it all the time. Huh?
But it's very
the population
evil.
is exploding, and so we need to reduce the population.
Right,
we need to reduce.
It's an evil thought because it's justifying all sorts of really horrendous ideas around humanity. And so, we really need to dispel such illusions in such dark minds.
Yes, it's rationalized, but it's really putting the burden into the sheer number of humans instead of providing to all humans what they need. And Elon Musk is saying that the major threat today facing humanity is that there are not enough humans on the planet. Not enough.
Okay.
And for me, it's a big marker of breaking from this kind of mass psychotic thinking of Malthusianism.
So he's challenging that narrative.
He is.
Which again is a positive.
Which
so
is
I
amazing.
Appreciate that.
Which is amazing because the planet is really empty, and we have, even with the current agriculture methods, we have largely enough to feed not only the current population, but a population that is growing but slower and slower every decade.
Right. So it's heartening to know that he's challenging the narrative, and that really does give us a little bit more strength, or at least makes us feel like there's someone speaking against this ridiculous movement that's going on, against the population, against people the way they were born, to coerce them to do things and be things that they're not, and successfully convince people. I mean, our youth is more confused today than ever before. So where is this all going? I mean, this pedophilia thing is just becoming quite the theme as we come to a close of this year. So I shudder to think what's going to happen getting into the new year if we don't all start screaming as loud as we can that we will not have any tolerance for this.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of people that have been tolerated. So, for example, Elon Musk himself said that when do we see the list of the clients of Jeffrey Epstein?
Yeah.
Because this is in the hands of the Justice Department. So all the clients, all the people he provided with the underage girls or whatever else, this list of people is, they are not held accountable.
And, the jury's not entirely, for me, it's still a little bit out on Elon Musk. I still need to see a bit more. And like you said, in all fairness to him, I've never paid any particular attention, and I've never really sort of known much about him other than what's obvious in the headlines. So, I would like to learn more about what his position is on a lot of things. I do see on Twitter, he seems to be defending Jack Dorsey, who is the previous founder of Twitter. And I just don't think that so much garbage could have happened on Twitter without Jack Dorsey's knowledge. So I don't know why Elon seems to be sort of dismissing that, Jack was ever involved. No, it wasn't the case, and he didn't know. How is it that somebody couldn't know what was happening right under his nose in his own company, especially such historical things like, some of the political manipulations that they've been finding that's going on. And now the aggressions against humanity. I don't believe Jack Dorsey's innocent. And for Elon to continue to profusely, say otherwise is just unsettling for me.
Well, I think in the call between Elon Musk and these victims of child abuse or trafficking, he said that he still believed that Jack Dorsey was a good guy. But
Good guy or not, children were being grossly impacted because of Twitter.
The point is, it's a bit unsettling to him because he's a friend, but he didn't close the door to anything. So he just reiterated he still believed that, but that probably Twitter was not doing what it should be.
Right, and he wasn't convincing that Jack wasn't entirely in the know.
Many people have this position saying, I still believe Jack Dorsey has a good heart, is a good person, but in this case, it appears that he's really at fault.
Yeah.
So let's see where it leads.
And then if he's really at fault and allowed this to happen, then I really wonder how good the heart and the good person is, because you just don't, under any circumstances, if you have any ounce of goodness in you, you do not allow such things against children. You just don't. One would give up their own life to protect our future, the children, the next generation. So I find it unacceptable that anyone could say anything about Jack Dorsey until we find out the truth about what his role was in all of this.
Yeah, one of the victims was saying that Jack Dorsey actually tried to help her. So he did something, but it was not enough.
Fair enough. Maybe he's tried to help one or two people, but there was a huge, horrendous, dark aggression going on against children in Twitter. It was a platform-wide issue. This is not one person. We could be talking about potentially millions of people that were being impacted. So I'm sorry. I cannot accept that this man is innocent or good until we learn more. But moving on, I think we need to come up with some sort of a community message with each other. We need to understand things a little bit better. And I wonder if there's a way for us to come up with ways as a global community to just flag things in a better way. How is it that we didn't know this was happening on Twitter? I mean, of course, it never came across our feed. I was never active on Twitter, by the way. I've only just begun to see a little bit more about Twitter, but I'm still not active on Twitter. But, I wonder if there's better ways that we can just protect each other as a global population.
And that's exactly the challenge that the current Twitter team is facing, how to build something that would prevent, devious people from using the tools that you provide.
And hopefully this is just the beginning of their exploration of other things, other measures that they can take to combat other grievous and dark crimes that are happening on social media against men, women, and children.